Hello everybody, it is Kayla Brissi here from kaylabrissi.com. I am really excited to talk to you today about how you can leverage content during a launch. So it doesn't matter if you're doing a product launch, a service launch, a brand launch, a business launch, whatever type of launch that you're doing. But more importantly, you're going to be able to do this by working smarter, not harder, and by avoiding any of those sleazy marketing tactics that we unfortunately often see in the online space. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in so that we can get to all the juicy content that I have for you today. So first things first, what is content marketing? Okay, that is the question that I get asked a lot by my clients. And so I'm going to give you the quick definition in case you don't know what it is. So according to the Content Marketing Institute, content marketing is a strategic marketing approach that is focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. So in other words, is to drive conversions. So there are a few things that you want to consider when you are looking at content marketing for your business. Okay, so when you're looking at content marketing, you want to be mindful that content marketing is a strategic marketing approach, okay? It touches every little facet of your marketing strategy more than you can probably even comprehend. All right, content marketing is in everything that you're doing. It's in the sales copy on your website, it's in your blogs, it's on your social media, it's your newsletters, it's your Facebook live streams, it's pre-recorded videos, it's through your graphics like infographics. It's podcasts, right? There's so many different forms and types of content that you can use for your business and utilize those for your marketing strategies. So content marketing is just one small piece of the puzzle to your overall marketing strategy, but it is a strategic approach to leverage with your overall marketing strategy. Okay, the other thing that you should consider too is that your content should benefit a very specific audience. So this is where you need to know who you're serving, okay? You need to have that clearly defined so that you can determine how your content is going to benefit them, right? And this really goes back to what the Content Marketing Institute said, that it needs to be valuable and it needs to be relevant, okay? You don't want to be putting content out to your audience that is not relevant or that they're really not interested, right? And that it's not valuable. You don't want to put out fluff content. You know, you can put out some fluff filler content every now and then to spark engagement, but that's not something that you want to do on a regular, consistent basis. You want to provide value. Now, providing value, that's kind of a term that's really up to interpretation. So you have to look at how you define value and how you see the value that you are providing to your audience. For myself personally and what I explain to my clients for value, value for me is providing valuable content that really comes from here. It's your original content, it's your wisdom, your knowledge that you're sharing, and you're sharing it in whatever capacity that you wish to share it, whether it be a live stream or a infographic on a podcast, whatever trips your trigger. But the point is your original content. Now, other experts in the industry say, well, that's not true because there's other forms of content that are relevant and that are valuable. Yes, that is true. Could you share an article from another guru in the industry? Yes, you could. That is still valuable, but I look at that as more of a visibility piece of content because you're sharing something that's not yours. So while it's still valuable in nature and it can still build rapport, it's not your original content, it's curated content. So I look at those as a visibility piece. It's a piece of content that you're using to establish credibility, to build rapport, to establish that trust, let them know that you know what's going on in the industry, and it can build that communication, right? So you're going to be able to have that engagement factor in there. That is just one of the reasons why I consider those pieces of content to not be my value version of content. Same for like quotes. Can quotes provide value? Absolutely. But let's be honest, people aren't going to hire you because you have an awesome quote on your social media. That doesn't position you as an expert. Whereas value-based content with your content marketing does. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little bit of a sense for you, a little bit better understanding of how I look at content marketing and look at value-based content marketing. So you need to define what value means in terms for your business and what you want to utilize through your content marketing for providing value. Now, the last thing that I want you to consider is that your marketing or your content marketing, like I mentioned, should be valuable, relevant, and consistent, okay? So we already talked about the value, we talked about relevant, so it needs to be targeted towards your audience. So if you are, let's see, for an example, if you are a boutique owner that sells clothing for millennials, you probably don't want to be sharing something about an upcoming book that you're going to read. While they could be interested in that, right, and that's more of a visibility piece, that's not a valuable piece of content, okay? Or maybe another example is if you are a business coach, okay, and you focus primarily on, let's say, sales, you probably don't want to post something about an event that you're going to, about a concert on your business page, right? Like, it's not really relevant. Yeah, it's showing them behind the scenes of things like that, but that's probably not the best use of posting and content that's going to be on your page, okay? Now, the consistent factor, I actually had a coach that told me this a couple years ago, and it really kind of stood out for me, and so I'm going to share that with you as well. So the coach that shared this with me during one of our coaching sessions was Taylor Manning. So Taylor, thank you for this hot tip. It was a light bulb moment for me. But she told me, because I was so fixated on being consistent and everything, I had to post at the same time every day and post the same number of times a day. And it was really getting to the point that I was feeling like I was choking myself out, right? Like, it was so rigid and so structured, and I felt like I was constantly online, and it was taken away from my family, and it just really wasn't how I envisioned where I wanted my business to be. And I didn't want to be so tapped in all the time, which I'm sure all of you feel the same same way as I did, because we got into business because we wanted to have that time freedom. We want to be able to have the freedom to spend with our loved ones, do whatever it is that we want to do. But I was feeling strapped to my phone or strapped to my computer and constantly online, posting, engaging, you name it. I mean, I was there, okay? So when it comes to consistency, okay, here's what Taylor told me. When it comes to consistency, that does not mean constantly, okay? And that's where my mindset needed to shift a little bit, was that I was constantly online and I was constantly feeling like I had to be there, because if I didn't, this is where my mindset wasn't at the place. If I wasn't there, then, oh my gosh, people aren't going to know me. I'm not going to get visible enough. I'm not positioning myself as an expert, right? And it was like that whole fear factor for me, that I had to be constantly online for consistency. But that's not true. As long as you are consistently online, whether that be you posting, answering questions, posting in other groups, sharing content, whatever it's going to be, but you just need to be consistent. Okay, so it doesn't have to mean that you need to be online 10 times a day for 20 hours a day, okay? It's just consistency, okay? Make sure that you don't go where you're going, spending time online 3 days out of the week, and then all of a sudden you go MIA for a month. That's not consistency, okay? Try and pop in 3 to 5 days out of the week on various platforms, do your thing, and show up, okay? That's a big thing. It's about showing up. Okay, so hopefully that tip from my previous coach will help you as well, as much as it helped me, because it really helped with my mindset shift of focusing on not needing to constantly be online, but just focusing on being consistent, and being consistent in various ways that lit me up and that didn't feel so constricted. Okay? All right. So why is content marketing important for you and for your business? So there's a lot of benefits to content marketing. I'm not going to go into all of them because we don't have time for all that today. But I will share with you 7 of my favorite benefits to utilizing content marketing for your business. So like I previously mentioned, your content marketing actually touches on every facet of your marketing strategy. So it's really important. And as a content marketer, hello, I am a content marketer. So I realize and I see how important content is. And that's actually the number one thing that most people hire me for when they come through my marketing agency, is for my content marketing, right? They want my strategy. They want my content marketing strategy. They want me to create their content for them because they just get so overwhelmed. So I utilize those skills that I have to service my clients, okay? So content marketing also helps you create brand awareness, okay? So it's letting people know more about your brand and your business and what you sell, okay? Whether they be products or services, doesn't matter, but they're getting to know more about you, your business, your brand, and whatever you are selling. And by doing so, you're building that know, like, and trust factor. So everyone knows that people buy from those that they know, like, and trust. And so trust is that key factor, that if they don't trust you, they aren't going to buy from you. So you need to be building and establishing that trust. And starting to do that is by creating awareness for your business, for your brand, for your products and services. Okay, the other one is it helps influence conversions. So it helps people make a buying decision of whether or not they're going to work with you, they're going to buy your products or your services, whatever it's going to be, even if they're going to refer people, right? This is all part of that conversion process. So it helps them making those decisions to determine where they're going to invest, what they're going to purchase, and what have you. Okay, it's also going to boost your SEO. Okay, so this is primarily if you're going to be blogging. Okay, blogging is going to be good for your SEO. If you do a podcast, those things are going to be able to be there, but it's going to boost your SEO. So what that means is you're going to be able to rank on Google, or you're going to rank on Pinterest, and people are going to find you, and you're going to be driving traffic to your site. And obviously, the more people that you drive to your site, you're going to be able to increase your conversions there, as long as your site is optimized. I should have that as a caveat. Okay, it's also going to position you as an expert, an authority figure, and a thought leader in your industry. Like, how incredible is that, right? So you want to position yourself as an expert because you want people to see you as the expert in the industry. That builds that know, like, and trust factor, and they know that you are walking your walk and talking your talk, that you are an expert at what you do, you know what you're doing, and that they can trust you, okay? So that is one of the key things here is, with that trust factor, they need to trust you. And part of that trust is really looking at you and looking up to you that you know what you are doing. Okay, so whatever you're selling as a product or service, you know it. Okay, you are the expert. The other thing is that it's a very cost-effective way to generate leads. So essentially, content marketing could technically really be free. I mean, obviously, aside from like your social media, auto scheduler, okay, sometimes you got to pay for those unless you got a free one. Or, if you're paying for podcast hosting or things like that, okay, those incidentals are going to come in there. But for the most part, your content marketing is really practically free. Could you run ads to drive traffic to your content? Absolutely. But it's a really low cost or potentially even free way to be able to generate quality leads for your business that you are ultimately going to be able to convert, because that is really like the whole purpose of your content, is to be able to move them through what I like to call a relationship building funnel, which is really like your sales funnel. Move them through the process so that they're from creating the awareness stage of just finding out about you to the point that they are then at the conversion stage where they are a client or a customer, and moving them through that process, okay? And lastly, when you use content marketing and you are sharing your knowledge and your wisdom, and you are infusing your passion, and you're infusing your unique essence about you, no matter if you are male or a female, right? Every single person is different. We all have our own unique fingerprint, right? And it's the same when we are writing our content, okay? It's the same when we are promoting our business. We all have that unique fingerprint that's going to set ourselves apart from everybody else in the industry. So it's going to help you stand out, and you're going to be different, okay? You don't want to be like everyone else. You don't want to blend in. You want to stand out, right? So what I like to tell my ladies all the time is be a stiletto in a room full of flats, okay? So you can utilize that as your concept. Or another one I like to share with them is be the unicorn in the field of horses, okay? So you want to stand out. You were born to stand out. Stand out. Let everything about you, your passions, your personality, your quirks, you name it, let that come through with your writing and with your marketing. And that's really going to help you stand out from the crowd and, really connect with your audience. Those that love what you have to offer, that what you're putting out, they're going to be attracted to you. Those that don't resonate with what you have to offer, they're going to leave, and that's perfectly fine, because you, my friend, are not supposed to serve everybody, okay? You have a very limited in a good way, very niched audience that you should be serving. Okay, moving on. So the content that you want to use during launch, I'm going to give you 5, okay, that you can leverage during your launch, and I'm going to break them down a little bit to kind of give you an idea of what you can do with these types of content for your launch. So this particular piece is going to help you be able to launch. So if you don't like launching with a big launch where you feel like you're going through burnout, and you hate having having to schedule every certain posts, and you don't like to have the countdown timer and early bird bonuses and all that jazz that comes in with launching, trust me, I get it. Launching is freaking exhausting, okay? So if you don't want to go through that whole hoopla, you can definitely utilize this strategy. If you do want to go through the whole hoopla, you can still use this strategy, okay? So it really works for both whenever you're launching, however you're going to launch. And this works for any business in any industry, okay? So it doesn't matter if you are a coach or a consultant, a speaker, a blogger. If you have a brick and mortar business, such as a boutique or a salon or a dentist office, right? Doesn't matter if you're an author, okay? Every single person can utilize basically this strategy that I'm going to give you the 5 types of content that you can use during your launch so you can work smarter, not harder, and avoid burnout when you are launching, okay? So the first thing that you want to look at is stories, okay? So you can share stories in a post online, or you can share snippets of stories through Facebook or with Instagram, right? Okay, so the big thing with stories is that facts tell and stories sell, okay? So I'm going to repeat that one for you guys. Facts tell, stories sell. Stories are really powerful. They are one of the best ways to really be able to connect, build rapport, and that trust with your audience is through sharing stories. We are naturally tuned in to want to hear stories, so we're more apt to listen to those stories or to read to those stories. So don't be afraid to share your stories that are obviously relevant to your launch and relevant to what you're doing. Tie those stories in, okay? So some stories that you could consider sharing are going to be stories about the origins of maybe your business or your product or your service. So what's the backstory, right? How did the idea come to be that you created whatever you did? Why did you start your business, right? You name it, whatever. Okay, so start at the origin. What are the basics? What do they need to know? You could also tell stories about your results. You could tell stories about lessons learned. You can still tell stories about your wins or really your wins or what you learned through the process, what worked, what didn't work, right? You could share client results or case studies, okay? You can even share a story about pain to pleasure. So whether that be your story of pain to pleasure or it's a client story that's going from pain to pleasure, right? So usually we're all, I shouldn't say everybody. Some people do focus on the pleasure aspect in their business, but primarily for the clients that I work with and most people that I talk to, they're working on solving a problem, okay? So they're targeting the pain point of their audience and they want to move them to the pleasure point of achieving those goals, okay? So you can share those stories, on social media, in your emails, on podcasts, on videos, what have you, however you want to share, but through your content, okay? So that's number 1. So stories. So you want to leverage stories as part of your launch by creating those compelling content through your stories. Next is, for number 2, is your polarizing content, okay? So when it comes to polarizing content, think of this as content that's going to ruffle the feathers a little bit. It is designed to attract your people and repel the people that are not for you, okay? And it can be really controversial, okay? So it just really depends. Now, I will tell you that this type of content can trigger people. You may get trolls that come out that want to say things that are not always as pleasant. You may get people that are triggered that they will put nasty comments. So just word of caution when you use this, use it strategically and be prepared that it may trigger someone and you may receive a little bit of backlash. But don't let that deter you from sharing what you need to share for your polarizing content, because this, my friends, is a really great way to help you stand out as well. It's going to let people know where you stand on important issues in your business or important issues in the world or whatever it's going to be. They know who you are. They're getting to the core of who you are and what your morals and beliefs are, right? Those values that you have. So it's really important to share these things with your audience. So examples of this could be, you can share a point of view about a relevant industry topic as it relates to your launch. You could take a stand for something that you believe in that relates to your launch, right? Or ties in with your business. So maybe part of your business, you have a nonprofit that you represent, or maybe you have your own nonprofit that you have. You can share why you are an advocate for that particular nonprofit and something that you're passionate about, right? Take a stand for it, okay? You can discuss why a certain process is fluff, right? Like it's just complete BS. You could talk about what you hate about something in relation to your launch, okay? So kind of like what I mentioned for you guys was that the sleazy marketing tactics. Oh my gosh, I hate those. Or the highlight reel marketing tactics where everyone is using like these big flashy numbers. People are renting, Lamborghinis, and it's like all fake marketing to make it appear that they are more successful than what they are. Okay, now does everybody do that? No. But unfortunately, there are some people that do that. So we want to mention that in here. Okay, so when you're looking at that, those are things that I look at. Like, those are things that I hate about my industry in terms of marketing. And I could go on a whole tangent about that, but just to kind of give you an idea. So those are things that I could talk about with my clients as I'm talking to them about marketing strategies and I'm talking about launching and things like that. It's relevant to my topic, and I can really share with them a point and a stance that I'm taking about things that really bother me about the industry that I'm in, why I don't like them, and how I do things differently. And that's really going to help position me differently than everybody else for the marketing consultants or strategists or whatever type of marketing people are out there, whatever they're calling themselves in the industry. Okay? All right, so number 3, emails. Okay, so these next 3 that I'm going to give you, I'm going to actually tell you they're emails, social media, and video. Okay, these 3 are going to allow you to work smarter, not harder. Okay, so the first 2 are ways for you to create compelling content that are going to help you stand out and be different. Okay, email, social media, and video are the work harder. Oh my gosh, we don't want you to work harder. Work smarter, not harder pieces of content. So this is where you're going to be repurposing content that you already have so that you don't have to constantly create new content every time you have a launch. Whoop, whoop. Nobody wants to do that. We don't have time for that. We want time freedom. Hello. Okay, so when you have email, so you can repurpose your emails or your newsletters, what have you. Okay, so what you can repurpose and what I'm going to encourage you to change on these emails so that they appear to be new and fresh are going to be changing the subject lines. Okay, changing up the opening and closing of your emails, changing any graphics that you maybe had in the emails. Okay, so this could also be so when you're closing, this could include your call to action. All right, so change those up as well, and then it'll feel like it's a little bit more of a fresh new newsletter or email that you're sending out so that people are able to see it. Now, the other thing that you can do when you're repurposing your emails, you can look through your old emails and you can turn them into social media posts, or you can turn them into blog posts, you can turn them into videos, you can turn them into a podcast. Okay, so you can repurpose that content in several different ways that maybe you haven't thought of already. Okay, so don't be afraid to mix and match. Don't be afraid to pull out snippets and create certain content with it. You can definitely do that. Leverage the content that you have that you know is performing well or has performed well for your next launch. Okay. Social media, again, we're going to repurpose. So this is where you can find the social media that really worked for your last launch. Hopefully you've had one in the past. If not, well, then this is going to be a testing phase for you to be able to use for the next time around, okay? So you can repurpose, change out the headlines, change the call to actions, and change out graphics, okay? If you use emojis to break up content, change out the emojis, all right? Change it up a little bit so that the core of it is still the same, but you're making those minor tweaks so that it visually looks different to people that maybe have already seen it. All right, and again, you can repurpose your social media content into blog posts, into a live stream video. If it's a text post, you can turn it into a podcast. You can turn it into newsletter content, right? So repurpose this stuff, guys. Don't think that once you post it one place, that's the only place that you can use it. Oh my gosh, no, you can turn it in so many different forms of content. It's unbelievable. In fact, there's actually over 300 ways that you can turn into content from like one video, okay? It's pretty insane. So keep that in mind as you are going through your content and repurposing that content. Think of other ways how you can use it or pull out pieces of that, right? So if you have something on social media and you found like a really good quote, you can pull that quote out of that. You can turn it into a graphic and you can post it on social media. Pretty simple, right? And it's all going to be relatable to your launch, and it's all going to be the same topic. So it's going to be valuable, it's going to be relevant, and you're going to be consistent through your launch with the same type of message, okay? Lastly, we have video, okay? So when you are repurposing video, you want to take a look at how you can repurpose it. So just like I mentioned with email, just like I mentioned with social media, you can repurpose it. So again, you can turn it into a blog post. You can share it to your email list. You can reshare it on social media. You can turn it into a lead magnet. If you did a video where it was a masterclass or a webinar, you can change the name of that and redo it again. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do with your video as well, and repurpose it. Okay, repurpose that video so that you can continue to keep moving forward with your launch and not feeling so bogged down that you need to constantly be creating all this new content. Absolutely don't have to do that. You can repurpose it, okay? And I strongly encourage you to repurpose it. Don't do a complete copy and paste. Definitely change things up a little bit so that it does appear to be a little bit newer than it was before, because they're going to have people that have seen the previous launch, that are following you all the time, or seen certain content, and they're going to recognize it, okay, if they're really paying attention. So change it up a little bit so that it appears to be something new. Very good. Okay, now obviously there's other content forms that you can use, like infographics, you can do podcast audio, stuff like that, and you're welcome to do that for your launch, but I really wanted to focus on these key components because graphics and a podcast, those can be repurposed out of your emails, your social media, and your video. Same with graphics. Those can be repurposed and created out of your email, your social media, or your video. Okay, there's always a rhyme or reason to everything I do. All right, you guys, so that covers everything that I was going to share with you today. Oh, except one thing I forgot, an expert tip for you guys. So when you are looking at your launch, I encourage you to go and change the benefit-driven hook that you have on your sales page, and even change out the images, okay? And also on your landing page, okay? So change that up a little bit so that it's not completely the same. So change out the image, maybe change out the hook or the benefit-driven statement, change up some of the words, make it appear to be different, okay? So don't neglect your sales pages and your landing pages if you're collecting leads that way, so that everything can be updated and everything looks fresh and looks new. Okay? All right, awesome. So that really is all that I have for you guys today. I would love to invite you to take a look at my resource library. If you're really struggling with your marketing and you're looking for free resources, my library is it. So you are welcome to join that. It's the Resource Library Subscriber Tribe. You'll find over 20 different types of resources in there that are going to be able to help you with all areas of your business, so not even just marketing. So it's pretty cool. So I will have the link here for you guys. If you are interested, you are more than welcome to drop your email in there and you will get access. You'll get your username and password to get access to the resource library. And lastly, I would love for you to let me know what you learned, what you enjoyed from this video. Don't forget to follow or subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And until next time, we will see you then. So have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.